This is Arthur Labinjo Hughes, waking up on the final day of his life. It's clear he has been told to put his bed away on waking. Weakened by maltreatment, he can barely lift it. The embodiment of faith and service for millions of Catholics he may be, but he is also an 86-year-old man still recovering from bronchitis. And the joy many felt at his appearance in St. Peter's Square was doubtless augmented this year by relief.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
He was made to stand alone for hours at a time. He was poisoned with salt and cut off from two grandmothers who loved him dearly.
I think they are cold, calculating, systematic torturers of a defenceless little boy.
With fighter planes in the air and soldiers on the streets, the paramilitary Rapid Support Force and the Sudanese army clashed in Khartoum today.
Callum, you spoke to the Prime Minister this afternoon. Did he respond to any of the concerns that we've just heard about?
Yeah, we had a chat, he did, in his way. He talked a lot about employment, the kind of employment generated by projects like this. He feels very strongly that that kind of growth is the key, the route out of this mess. Lots of people, though, now calling for emergency measures, an emergency budget, emergency tax cuts, perhaps even a windfall tax on the energy companies. Never mind heating or eating, she's worried about how she's going to get her child.
And we're making sure.
She says that you don't understand what it's like to live on a basic wage. Now, and your cabinet don't either. Now, what would you say to that?
Look, I think everybody understands.
Dan Chalice is trying to find his voice. Though grateful for the one his synthesizer has given him, the proud resident of Aldridge near Walsall has always wished it could be a little more local.
I started this campaign as I wanted to sound like my family.
And a day of firsts for two young athletes was one of finality for Sir Mo Farah.
Thanks for everything, Mo.
It was not his fastest marathon, but as he confirmed afterwards, it was his last.
Last 2 years I have struggled with my body.
Can you just tell us a little bit more about social services involvement with Arthur, first of all?
Yeah, it was the 16th of April last year when Arthur's grandmother took that photo you just saw, and she made a complaint to social services. Now, around the same time, Thomas Hughes complained to the police that he was being harassed by his family, and they also made a referral to social services. So there were these twin tracks of concern, if you like, coming into social workers.
Can you tell us about the significance of lockdown and what happened to Arthur? Did it make things worse?
Yeah, it is, in my view, impossible to consider what happened to Arthur without considering what was going on in the wider country at the time. The lockdown was mentioned many times throughout this trial. More than one witness said that the only reason Thomas Hughes and Arthur were living at Emma Tustin's house was because they happened to be there on the day that the Prime Minister announced the lockdown.
The machinery and the monarch have changed a few times since 1930 when Merrythought was founded. But the iconic teddy bear producer plans to mark the Queen's Platinum Jubilee this year with a limited edition Elizabeth II bear, complete with cloak, crown and twinkly blue eyes. It was the moment that fans here had come to see. Brazilian World Cup legend Roberto Carlos scoring a goal for their local pub team. I asked Carlos afterwards why he hadn't played longer. Age, he said, and went on to talk about the importance of grassroots football. It was a small Brazilian club like this that gave me my first break, he said. Everything starts here.
Now, Callum, it's an incredible puppet, little Amal, and a lot of people have worked really hard to bring Amal to the Midlands. Tell us about the logistics involved.
Well, it's a theatre company that owns the overall idea, but they outsource the job of putting on the production to a local producer in each area. Here in Birmingham, that's Claire Marshall. Claire, well done.
Thank you very much.
I mean, Amal's backstory, just tell me a bit about that and why it's relevant to Erdington in particular.
Yeah, well, as you said, it's about shining a light on unaccompanied minors. Children make up 50% of the world's refugees.
And Arthur's superpower was his smile.
The little boy who died thinking nobody loved him.
They were the last people.
But when he heard our cameraman, Jack, who's from Blockswich, he coaxed him out from behind the camera for a face-to-face audition.
He had a very large moustache.
What do you think, Dan?
Dan will be going away to residential college in Cheltenham in the autumn, and he hopes to be taking a brand new West Midlands voice down the M5 with him.
If the body is not responding and you can't do it, you know it's time to call it.
There was the full complement of bright costumes and charity runners chasing records of their own. But at the elite level, there was a sense here today of a baton being passed from one generation to the next.
2 months down the road, when the opening ceremony gets underway here, nobody, I'm afraid the impression I got today, not even Boris Johnson, knows how bad this is going to get.
In the end, the Bulls lost 4-3. But the youth football charity the raffle raised money for was the real winner today. Callum, Watkinson, ITV News.